Some walked through those doors and found redemption. They reclaimed their names, their identities, their fire. They became bigger stars than they ever were under the bright lights of WWE. But for most, the dream twisted into a different kind of nightmare. Not the suffocating creative control of Vince McMahon, something far more unpredictable. The chaos of too much freedom. A roster bursting at the seams with talent and no clear direction for any of them. This is their story, every major name who left WWE for AEW. The successes, the failures, the tragedies in between. And it starts with the man who proved the dream could work. The man who walked away from WWE not in anger, but in defiance. The man who turned that defiance into a throne built on his own terms. Jon Moxley. At Double or Nothing 2019,
when Chris Jericho stood victorious after the main event,
the arena went black. No glass shattered, but something else did. The illusion that WWE was the only place that mattered. Jon Moxley stormed through the crowd like a man possessed. He attacked Omega with a fury that felt personal, real, dangerous. This was not Dean Ambrose in a goofy outfit, delivering scripted one-liners that made everyone cringe. This was the real man, unfiltered, unchained, unhinged. In WWE, he had been suffocated, forced into comedic gimmicks, gas masks, germaphobe skits that insulted both him and the audience. Every complaint about creative fell on deaf ears. He was told to smile through the humiliation, to trust the process, to remember his place. He was always the third wheel. Roman got the coronation, Seth got the spotlight, Dean got the comedy bits and the throwaway feuds that meant nothing the moment they ended. But in AEW, Jon Moxley became inevitable. He won the World Championship at Revolution 2020, defeating Chris Jericho to become AEW's second World Champion. Then he won it again, and again, and again. 4 reigns in total, more than anyone in company history. His most recent coronation came at WrestleDream in October 2024, when he defeated Bryan Danielson to capture the title for a record-breaking 4th time. Every reign cemented him as the company's most reliable pillar. When the pandemic hit and arenas fell silent, Moxley carried the weight. When CM Punk imploded the locker room and disappeared in scandal, Moxley stepped up without hesitation. When Tony Khan needed someone to steady the ship through storms that would have sunk lesser men, he called Moxley. His willingness to bleed in parking lots, wrestle in New Japan, and defend the title in GCW in front of 500 fans instead of 5,000 made him invaluable. He did not just become a champion. He became the heart, the backbone, the proof that AEW could build its own icons instead of relying on WWE's leftovers. Moxley's rise showed what happens when freedom meets hunger, but his story is the exception, not the pattern. Because while he thrived as a lone wolf, the man who once handpicked him for greatness would return to wrestling, and he would bring a very different kind of chaos with him. CM Punk. The pipe bomb detonated in 2011, but the shockwave never stopped. Even after he walked away from WWE in 2014, even during his 7 years in exile.
CM Punk! CM Punk!
CM Punk's name echoed through every arena like a war cry. He became a symbol of rebellion, the voice of the voiceless, a martyr who told the truth and paid for it. When he returned to wrestling at AEW Rampage in August 2021, the United Center erupted. Grown men cried. The impossible had happened. Punk was back. For a moment, it felt like magic. His feud with MJF caught fire. His matches with Darby Allin, Eddie Kingston, and Bryan Danielson reminded everyone why he mattered. He won the AEW World Championship twice, even if his second reign lasted only 3 days. But Punk did not just bring star power, he brought turmoil. The backstage fight at All Out 2022, where he confronted the Elite after inflammatory comments during the media scrum, tore the locker room apart. Reports suggest he even bit Kenny Omega during the altercation. Friendships collapsed, trust vanished. The company splintered into factions and whispers. When he finally returned after months away, the chaos followed him. Another altercation, this time with Jack Perry over creative disagreements that spilled into real conflict. Tony Khan fired him in September 2023. Not suspended, not fined, fired. The biggest signing in AEW history, the man who brought mainstream attention, was removed because the damage outweighed the value. Punk went back to WWE in November 2023. Where he found redemption, championships, and the spotlight he always wanted. But the scars he left on AEW never healed. And while Punk burned bridges, the man who debuted beside him built something very different. A legacy rooted not in chaos, but in respect. Bryan Danielson. When Daniel Bryan walked through the curtain at All Out 2021, it felt like watching a master craftsman return to his workshop. In WWE, he spent years wrestling with restrictions, limited by concussion protocols, under creative that never fully trusted him, treated like a part-timer when he should have been a pillar. In AEW, he was finally unleashed. His debut match against Kenny Omega at Grand Slam 2021 became an instant classic. Technical excellence mixed with stiff strikes and near falls that left fans breathless. This was not the safe, restrained Daniel Bryan. This was the American Dragon, bringing the intensity that made him a legend. He joined the Blackpool Combat Club with Jon Moxley and William Regal. He fought through the Continental Classic. He competed in the Owen Hart Tournament. He delivered dream matches with Kazuchika Okada, Will Ospreay, and Nigel McGuinness, matches that could never have happened in WWE. At All in London in August 2024, with his career on the line, Bryan Danielson defeated Swerve Strickland to become AEW World Champion. It was a crowning moment for a man who gave everything to wrestling. He held the title for 48 days before losing it to Jon Moxley at WrestleDream on October 12, 2024. That match ended his full-time career. Danielson never needed the belt to matter. His matches spoke louder than any championship ever could, but each hard bump, each stiff shot, carried a trace of fear in the crowd. The fear that this could be the night his body finally refused to continue. His AEW run became a victory lap, a celebration of craft. He never chased mainstream relevance. He chased excellence and found it every time he stepped through the ropes. But excellence does not guarantee longevity. And the man who has been with AEW since day one learned that even the best reinventions eventually wear thin. Chris Jericho, the inaugural AEW World Champion, crowned at All Out 2019, the veteran name that gave the company legitimacy before it even secured a television deal. Jericho's arrival showed that AEW was not an indie promotion trying to punch above its weight. It was a serious alternative. For decades, Jericho's superpower was reinvention, the list, the festival of friendship, the Painmaker, Le Champion. Every time fans grew tired, he changed again. In AEW, the cycle continued. The Inner Circle, the Jericho Appreciation Society, the Ocho, the Learning Tree. New faces, new catchphrases, new acts. But over time, the pattern became predictable. Fans could see the beats coming. Jericho feuds with the hot new talent. The feud lasts for months. They beat him, then another begins. Ricky Starks, Sammy Guevara, Action Andretti, Hook, even Adam Cole, all pulled into what fans now call the Jericho Vortex. Momentum slows. Stories lose steam. The cycle repeats. The crowd that once sang along now chants for him to retire. Not out of hate, out of fatigue. He has appeared on AEW television almost every week for 6 years. The reinventions no longer surprise when the formula is that familiar. Even the best tricks lose impact after enough repetition. Yet while Jericho's star has dimmed, his best friend found something in AEW that eluded him for 20 years in WWE, a character so perfect, so genuinely hateable, that it might be the best work of his entire career. Christian Cage. When Christian arrived in AEW in March 2021, fans expected a nostalgia run, a few dream matches, a short title push, maybe a reunion with Edge before retirement. Instead, they got the birth of wrestling's most insufferable villain. Christian did not just turn heel. He embraced chaos. He manipulated Luchasaurus and Killswitch into doing his bidding. He faked injuries. He attacked legends. He betrayed Edge.
Go f*** yourself.
And he became Father of the Year, a catchphrase filled with so much irony that fans could not help but enjoy hating him. His feud with Kenny Omega delivered. His 2 TNT Championship reigns were consistently the best part of Dynamite. His ability to generate genuine heat proved he had finally uncovered a character that had been buried for decades. Speculation now suggests Christian might capture the AEW World Championship in 2025. It would be the perfect reward for a late career renaissance nobody expected. He spent 20 years being compared to Edge. In AEW, he stepped out of that shadow, not as the better wrestler, as the better character. His success highlights the struggles of the man he has been linked to for 3 decades. Edge. Edge's arrival at WrestleDream in October 2023 should have felt monumental. A Hall of Famer choosing AEW over the comfortable retirement role WWE offered. A statement. And for a moment, it was. His feud with Christian Cage for the TNT Championship delivered the emotional fire fans wanted. Copeland won the title and defended it with pride. But then came the overexposure. In WWE, every Edge appearance felt special. In AEW, weekly appearances drained the mystique. Familiarity dulled the aura. Then came Double or Nothing 2024. Copeland climbed the cage, leapt, and his leg snapped on impact. A fractured tibia. A brutal scene that forced him to vacate the title and miss months of action. When he returned, AEW placed him in a world title feud with Jon Moxley that never connected. Not because either man failed, but because the story lacked the intensity that made his Christian feud work. Copeland's AEW run has been solid, but solid feels disappointing for a man of his stature, and while Copeland still has time to recover, another wrestler saw his momentum evaporate much faster. Adam Cole. He should have been a king. In NXT, Adam Cole dominated. Over 400 days as champion, leader of the Undisputed Era, the backbone of an entire brand. When his contract expired in 2021 and he chose AEW, it felt like a seismic shift. His debut at All Out 2021 was electric. He reunited with the Elite. The crowd was ready for his rise. But injuries destroyed the momentum. Concussions, ankle surgery, long stretches on the shelf. Every return came with less spark than the last. His feud with MJF, which should have solidified him as a top star, only highlighted how much he had lost. The Devil storyline dragged without payoff. His matches lacked the sharpness he once had. Fans began to wonder if the injuries had taken too much. Adam Cole's AEW run became a reminder that talent needs a healthy body to shine. Creative freedom means nothing when you spend more time rehabbing than wrestling. And while Cole's struggle came from physical limits, the next wrestler's issue came from the company itself, Mercedes Moné. When Sasha Banks walked out of WWE in May 2022, fans waited for her next chapter. She thrived in Japan, delivering standout matches, but AEW was always the destination. Her AEW debut on March 13, 2024, during Big Business, was treated like an industry-shifting moment. Mercedes Moné arrived as the CEO, the self-proclaimed standard of women's wrestling. She won the TBS Championship. She feuded with Britt Baker, Willow Nightingale, and Chris Statlander. On paper, it looked perfect, but something did not click. The aura she carried in WWE did not translate. The smaller stage made her feel less commanding. Her title reign felt flat, not because of her performance, but because AEW struggled to present her as the star she claimed to be. Her matches were strong. Her character work was confident, but the booking did not elevate her. She said she was the standard, yet the company did not treat her like the centerpiece of the division. Mercedes Moné's AEW run shows that even the biggest names need the right stories to maintain their aura. You cannot declare yourself the CEO if the presentation does not match the claim, and her disappointment still pales next to the man who was handed everything, only to watch it slip away quietly. Rusev. As Rusev, he was never the top guy in WWE, but he was always close. He feuded with John Cena at WrestleMania. He held the United States Championship 3 times. Rusev Day became one of the most organic chants of its era. Even when WWE buried him with comedy segments and embarrassing storylines, the fans never stopped cheering him. When he arrived in AEW in September 2020, expectations were huge. Fans believed he would finally become the monster he was meant to be. AEW stumbled at first by pairing him with Kip Sabian in a gamer gimmick that went nowhere. Then everything shifted. God's favorite champion was born. Miro became a destructive force, delivering intense promos about divine wrath while steamrolling opponents. His TNT Championship reign, starting with his win over Darby Allin in May 2021, showed exactly how dominant he could be. He held the title for 140 days before losing it to Sammy Guevara. After an injury break, his push disappeared. AEW had no direction for him, and between January 2022 and April 2024, he wrestled only 11 televised matches. Creative disagreements kept him off screen even when he was healthy. In February 2025, Miro officially left AEW after requesting his release. 2 months later, he officially rejoined WWE. He returned to the company in April 2025, marking a full comeback as Rusev. His AEW run ended as a clear case of wasted potential. They had a star and lost him.
Right to it. See, and
Aleister Black. Malachi Black debuted in AEW in July 2021 with one of the most striking presentations in the company. He defeated Cody Rhodes twice, establishing himself as a major threat from day one. But the momentum slowly faded. The House of Black formed with Buddy Matthews and Brody King. The trio looked incredible and even won the Trios Championship in October 2023. Yet Malachi's singles career stalled. He was always part of the act, never the central figure. AEW had a unique character, but no long-term story to elevate him. His contract expired on February 9th, 2025. The next day, AEW removed him from their roster page. Weeks later, Aleister Black officially signed with WWE. He returned on April 25th, 2025, delivering a black mass to The Miz on SmackDown in his first appearance back. Unlike his previous WWE run, this return comes under Triple H's creative direction, giving him the chance at the main roster spotlight he never received before. Malachi Black's AEW run stands as an example of how a performer with depth and aura can flounder without direction. AEW let him slip away, and WWE picked him up immediately. But before we talk about the others lost in the shuffle, we must address the man who helped build AEW itself, the architect of the revolution who walked away from his own creation, Cody Rhodes. He was there from the beginning. The All-In event in September 2018 sold out in minutes and proved independent wrestling could draw massive crowds. The formation of AEW in January 2019 placed Cody beside Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks as a co-founder and executive vice president. He was not just a wrestler. He was a visionary who helped create the first true alternative to WWE in 20 years. At Double or Nothing in May 2019, Cody faced his brother Dustin Rhodes in a bloody, emotional masterpiece that showed the world AEW was serious about storytelling.
I don't need a partner. I don't need a friend. I need my older brother.
He became the inaugural TNT champion in May 2020 and held the title for 145 days. He won it 2 more times, making him the only 3-time TNT champion. His feud with MJF was unforgettable. He took 10 lashes on live television. He defeated Wardlow inside a steel cage just for the chance to face his former protege. His trilogy with Brody Lee, his matches with Malachi Black and Sammy Guevara. Cody wrestled every match like it was part of something bigger. Then the shift came. By late 2021, Tony Khan had taken full creative control, and Cody's booking responsibilities reportedly faded. The man who helped build the company felt sidelined inside the house he helped construct. In interviews later, Cody admitted he felt he could not create or grow the way he wanted, even in the company he helped start. On February 15, 2022, Cody and AEW released joint statements confirming his departure. His wife Brandi, AEW's chief brand officer, left with him. The wrestling world was stunned. One of AEW's founding pillars had walked away. His last AEW match was a ladder match loss to Sammy Guevara at Beach Break on January 26, 2022. At the time, no one knew it would be his final appearance in the company he co-founded. 2 months later, at WrestleMania 38 on April 2, 2022, Cody returned to WWE as Seth Rollins' surprise opponent. The reaction was explosive. He had left WWE 6 years earlier as Stardust, mid-card, and frustrated. He returned as the American Nightmare and defeated Rollins in front of 77,000 fans. The prodigal son came home to finish the story his father never could, to win the WWE Championship that eluded Dusty Rhodes. At WrestleMania 40 on April 7, 2024, Cody defeated Roman Reigns to become undisputed WWE Champion, completing a journey that began with rebellion and ended with triumph. Cody's departure from AEW proved something important. Sometimes the issue is not the cage. Sometimes it is the vision behind it. He helped build AEW into a true alternative, but left when he felt he could no longer grow. His story stands as both AEW's greatest success, showing they could create stars, and their greatest failure, showing they could not always keep them. The pattern. Keith Lee, trapped in tag teams instead of becoming the singles monster he could have been. Saraya, a miraculous comeback reduced to scattered Rampage appearances. Jeff Hardy, the charismatic enigma drifting through matches nobody remembers. Bobby Lashley, who arrived in February 2024 to major hype but was treated like another name on an overcrowded roster. Athena, one of AEW's best workers, hidden away in Ring of Honor. Buddy Matthews, Jake Hager. So many others came with hope and left with nothing. The issue is not talent. AEW has more talent than it can manage. The issue is direction. For every Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, or Christian Cage who thrived, several others got swallowed by the chaos. Tony Khan collects wrestlers like action figures, then forgets to use them. WWE's system is restrictive, political, and often frustrating, but it has structure, it has clarity. You know where you stand, even if you dislike it. AEW offers freedom, but freedom without purpose becomes chaos. And chaos buries as many careers as any controlling system ever has. The Great Migration taught us something vital. Sometimes the problem is not the cage. Sometimes the problem is what happens when no one knows where to go once they are free. Thanks for watching. If you want more deep dives into wrestling's biggest moments and biggest mistakes, hit subscribe. Tell me in the comments which ex-WWE star's AEW run shocked you the most, and click the video on screen to find out why Triple H's reign might be destroying more careers than it is saving.